Hello, I'm Charles from Charles in Photography. Today's tutorial isn't about me drinking these 8 Coke cans, but I'm going to use these Coke cans to actually talk about depth of field and how to try to achieve the optimum depth of field for our photography and for the specific scene that we're trying to photograph. Now, most photographers know that choosing for landscape f-stop of around f8 to f11 will actually give us a fair amount of depth of field, which is what we like in landscape. But sometimes if our foreground in our image isn't very nice and could be detracting from our subject matter, then choosing an f-stop lower than, let's say, f8, for example, f5.6, will actually blur out our foreground. We will still get our subject and quite a bit of the background in focus, but the foreground will actually be not as discernible and will not detract from our image. Likewise, when I'm shooting wildlife with my Nikon 200 to 500mm f5.6 lens, I actually like using the lens wide open at f5.6 because going from f5.6 to f8 means that I actually have more depth of field, not only in the background, but also in the foreground as well. For example, if I'm shooting a small kingfisher in a tree and there's branches and all that behind it, I will actually see those branches and they will detract from my kingfisher. But not only that, a lot of the time there's actually foreground branches, little twigs and all that sort of stuff that will actually be discernible at f8 and will actually detract quite a lot from my image. So this is why I actually tried to keep the lowest aperture possible when I'm shooting wildlife, and on this lens it would be f5.6. For today's exercise we're actually going to be shooting at f2.8, f4, f5.6, f8, f11, f16 and f22. The camera will be focused on this fourth can here. Each can is set 25 centimeters apart over a 1.8 meter distance, and it's around a 60-degree angle, so they're actually quite steep back, and you can see that this is where the front can here is, and all the way at the back out there is where the last can is as well. And I've got a few little Coles Shopkins in front of each can here, just to help us see how well in focus each of these cans are. We're going to go and start taking photos at f2.8 and gradually increase our aperture until we get to f22, and we should see a noticeable difference in our photos. So for this exercise I'm actually using my Nikon D500 with the Tokina 100mm f2.8 lens. So now let's go and take some photos. So this is the first photo at f2.8. Now we're at f4. Now at f5.6. Now at f8. At f11. At f16. At f22. So this is the first photo at f2.8. Now we're at f4. Now at f5.6. Now at f8, at f11, at f16, at f22. So this is the first photo at f2.8. Now we're at f4. Now at f5.6. Now at f8, at f11, at f16, at f22. So as you can see in the photos, there's actually quite a bit of difference between each aperture, f2.8, f4, f5.6 and so on. But now let's look at the photo of f2.8 compared to f5.6. You can actually see there's actually quite a bit of difference. If we're looking at a difference between f5.6 and f11, You can also see there is actually quite a big difference here as well. And if we jump to f16, but in landscape, very few people would actually use f16, but hypothetically, let's say that we chose an aperture of f16, this is the amount of depth of field that we would have compared to if we were using an aperture of f5.6. So I hope this tutorial has helped you understand a little bit more about choosing the right aperture, the right f-stop for whatever type of photography that you are shooting. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment in the comment box below if you've got a question or some feedback. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is Charles for Charles N Photography. Bye for now.